Hello, this is Heather O'Neill, and I am going to discuss the few highlights of my portfolio and some of the activities that I enjoyed the most. The first activity that I really enjoyed working on was an activity that our school had created and that I got to work with administration a lot on, and it was called Bear University. So in this activity, we got to plan ways for the community to come in and get helpful information as parents, bring in stakeholders and share about the things that we were doing at school. Just a way to really bring families in and tie them, tie the community into the school and have some more buy-in. And to also help our students and families be more successful at home and see the vision that, we at Oskaloosa are trying to create and follow and implement. That way we can share our vision and goals. So in this activity, I got to be on two parts of the activity. I was on the public relations committee, so we got to brainstorm ideas on how that we could, bring in the community. I always say if you, have food, they will come. That definitely worked at my previous school. It doesn't seem to be quite a catch here, but we do try to feed families to eliminate some stress if they're trying to come into evening activities. We can then try to encourage them to come in a little bit more if there is food provided, knowing that we are in a low income area. So we came up with, providing signs to put along the road that had all kinds of catchy, fun phrases. We put it on social media, Twitter, Facebook, our website. We created flyers. We put it in our school bear facts that go home weekly on the elementary side. So we try to be as creative as possible. We also were in charge of organizing some things. So we decided to go with folders for every family member that signed up, or, set of families that signed up. So that way they could have a schedule of what they signed up for, as well as a place to keep materials that they collected from the sessions. The other part that I got to be a part of was being a presenter, actually. And so I presented on executive functioning. And so I worked with my assistant principal, who is super awesome, and my school psychologist, who is also super awesome. And we came up with some ways that we could work with families or help families to know how to help their students be a little bit more independent. How could they plan? How could they schedule, prepare their day? Could they pack their bag the night before by having all of their, materials for an activity in there? Could they, shower the night before? Could they, make a list of things and so forth? So we just help them to kind of process how important executive functioning is for students and how much easier it could be for families if they, utilize some of those tools of planning ahead, utilizing a calendar to help organize, the time frames that it would take to do some activities and so forth. This is something I use every day, in my classroom, but this was really fun getting to do it on a bigger scale and having parents be able to come in and do activities with us to see how important it is to practice executive functioning. The next activity I chose to kind of bring up as a highlight, this is only one observation that I've done, but I got to have a team of mentee teachers this year, which was super awesome. I had 2 elementary teachers and 1 high school teacher that I got to be a mentor to. So I got to do a lot of observation, which is really nice because I know as an administrator, that's a big part of the job. And so I got to do a variety of observations. One of my favorite was getting to go with my high school teacher out to a student's house who has cerebral palsy. And I got to learn about his technology that he uses and see how she interacts with him. She did a story with him. She worked on his Toby device. And so I got to really learn a lot. And so that was something that was not in my realm of wheelhouse that I've done in special education. So I think as an administrator, I think it's really important to know that there are students that we don't see in the building and that they, are still part of our student body, and that our teachers are working hard to ensure that those students are still learning and growing. I also got to observe some of my teachers in math, reading, and history lessons, and it was really neat to see the different age groups. I have worked with a variety of age groups, but it was really fun to see some of the younger kids because it's been a while since I've worked, one-on-one with students at the elementary level. I got to observe a teacher that was doing a math lesson that was having some behavior issues with a student. And so that's my favorite area to work with. And so that was really fun to be able to observe and give her some tips. That's actually what this lesson or this observation form is from. This is an observation form that I have to use for my cooperative, but I've also gotten to do some other observations with a teacher in another district who's been having some behavior problems with a student. And so it's been really nice to see different varieties of teachers and the way that they, in different levels and the way that they handle things. I think that only makes me a stronger administrator. So this has been one of my favorite activities. Definitely I've done a lot of observations in the last couple years in being with this cooperative, but this year I got to do a lot. And so it really felt like I was getting to do some administrative work, which I truly love to get to do and give suggestions and helpful tips to teachers, as well as getting to model some of my suggestions, which is also part of this observation, which again is one of my favorites. I love to be a model classroom and a model teacher. The next activity I'd really like to highlight is really near and dear to my heart. I've really worked on pushing for collaboration within my cooperative, and they have really listened to me and allowed the teachers to have some freedom to do some collaboration and collaborative teaching. So in this activity, I did collaborate with my speech teacher and my co-teacher, who is also one of my mentees this year, and we created a coffee cart. We started working on this in May of 2019 when my co-teacher was a speech para, and now she's my co-teacher, which is super exciting. And so with this class, we have created an order form that we print out for our students. They follow step-by-step directions. This is personalized, for each student based on their IEP goals. Some of the students have overlapping IEP goals, which is fantastic because we get to do some things on a broad level. And so the students do follow step-by-step directions that they came up with, that we worked as a team to come up with. And then they deliver coffee to staff. Along with this collaboration that we, also do a lot of life skill activities. We practice cutting, we practice cooking, we do, you can see in the pictures here that we are making a snack mix that the students really enjoy. We make snack mixes to sell for the coffee cart. So then we bring in some life skills of keeping track of our budget, our profits, we make out grocery lists. So we've really created a really awesome class that's helping to prepare our students for the real world as they are heading to graduation. Many of these students are sophomore, juniors, and seniors. And so we really feel like this class can help prep them to be able to get a job in the community with minimal or no assistance, because they do have some active, life skills that they've developed through the class. The last activity that I would really like to highlight is an activity that I pushed for last year. I worked with my administration, my assistant principal mostly, to really seek out and find supplemental curriculums that would be beneficial for my my special education room of high school students. After doing some research and looking at several programs, I came across Ramsey Education that goes with the financial piece. And so, I worked with her. I worked with the company to come up with a quote to find, to figure out what was needed, specifically for my classroom. With this, I did write out a proposal to my administration of, telling them how I would use this, how it would be best utilized. And then I worked with the company, like I said a moment ago, and got the quote, sorted out and settled. I worked with them to do some professional development. Some of it was pre-recorded and some of it was live webinars. And that was really nice to have some background knowledge and understanding of why the program works and how important it is. And so with this program, we do a lot of, again, life skills. Obviously, you can see that's the theme of my background the last few years. And so we work on, just banking skills. We work on, how to set a budget, how to, pay taxes, just a variety of activities. This is a really good program that has some hands-on activities to teach some lessons, as well as some videos and then a workbook to go with it. This is, again, one of my favorite activities just because I really felt like I worked hard to go above and beyond and find something that would be beneficial for not only my students, but allowing other students to join. But again, going above and beyond and finding something that I'd never done before. I'd never gone out and found a curriculum, had to do the legwork for getting a quote and things like that. Many times before, I would just submit it to our district office and they would take care of it. So I felt like I got to do the administration piece of that with a little bit of guidance from my assistant principal. And so I really enjoyed getting to do that, and felt proud of finding that curriculum on my own. The next activity I would like to highlight, and I can see that my video, there we go, was frozen a minute, is working on a master school schedule. So I've really just worked hard at pushing to be able to be a part of the master schedule in my new school. But I've done a lot of this in my previous school. So I know that wasn't while I was doing this program, but it was actually while I was doing my master's in special education. So maybe that'll count for something. So in this go around, I was working with my school counselor who does our scheduling and working on, the classes for students, but working to develop it by grade. So you can see here, there's a copy of the 9th grade and 10th grade, or I'm sorry, the 11th grade. We're still working on the finalization of 10th and 12th grade classes. We just ensure that everyone has a plan time, that there's not overlapping classes where there might be a single class. But I've done a lot of master scheduling at the elementary level as well. I had been doing it for my previous job where I was a special education teacher. I had a staff of 11, and so it took a lot to ensure that all student needs were met and students and paras were, being utilized and placed where they needed to be. My principal really enjoyed the way that I did my schedule. And so she asked me to be a part of doing some master scheduling for the school. So I ended up working with her and we would develop a master schedule for, all of the elementary teachers, specifically of what their day would look like. We would also ensure that classrooms were covered with special education coverage, with title support, and that building aids were placed as they needed to. We also worked to ensure that there was coverage for our MTSS tier system for both math and reading. So we worked with the title staff. But it was my favorite because I really do like a scheduling challenge, and this gave me the opportunity to really see the big picture when I got to do it previous. So I've been trying to bring those skills to my new school and let them see that I do, find creative ways to make schedules work. And special ed, that's kind of how you have to make things go. And so I think that will be a really good strength for me as an administrator in the future. So again, I've really enjoyed, this scheduling piece, and there were lots of other activities, but these were my top favorite. So I hope that helps to show off some of my highlighted activities. Thanks again.